Hi guys, this is Matt here from Brick vs Japan, and today I'm going to be talking about my level of Japanese now that I've been doing immersion for the past 18 months. And quickly before I get into this, I'll just mention the method. And the method is the AJATT method. You guys might have heard of it before. There'll be a link in the description for the website that most of the information's in. The website's all Japanese all the time, and as the title says, literally just all Japanese all the time. Listening and as much reading as you can. It's the main part of the process. It's just an immersion method pretty much, and a lot of the information he gives on his website is incredibly useful, so if you guys want to learn languages, then definitely go have a look. I will also have a link to my blog in the description as well, which I am putting some hopefully useful blog posts up, and it also shows what kind of issues I had and some tricks and stuff that I have to make things more efficient for you guys, so definitely give that a look if you can. It's still in the beginning process though, so there's not as much on there at the moment, but I plan to put a lot more work in. The first thing I want to talk about is input. So what level am I at when it comes to input, and what do I understand, what do I not understand? So when it comes to reading is probably my most the thing that I'm most proud of. I can read pretty much anything, and it's crazy when you think about it, but it's not actually that amazing. But still, I've got some books here. These are aimed at native Japanese people. This one here is for software engineers. This is basically just a load of essays on software engineering, and as you can see, it's all natural Japanese. There is no furigana as it focuses. It's all kanji and kana, and yeah, I can read that perfectly fine. And I've also got loads of other books like this one, and this is a new one I got recently, which is actually checking that I can read a lot of my kanji. That's aimed at natives, but it's a test. It's like a kanji test book. But yeah, what other ones have I got? This bad boy. This is what I'm reading at the moment. It's called Tetsugaku, and I've got a few others lying around as well. And I've also got Book Live, which is a great resource, by the way, which is a huge online bookstore, and it has thousands and thousands of books, and there's a lot of free stuff. So I've got like 700 books in that. It's unreal. I've only read like 100 of them maybe, but there's lots of free stuff which you can get, and there's some brilliant deals as well which you can get on those books. There's loads of vouchers and stuff like that. Obviously it's all digital, but it's a really good resource. So my reading is pretty much, well, I'd say it's at a fluent level. I don't know if I'd say it's a native fluent level, because it's hard to say, but I would say it's fluent level. I can read a book perfectly fine with no issues. There are a few words obviously that I don't understand, but those few words I will add to my Anki deck and I will learn them, and that'll be it. But I don't come across many words that I don't know. So there's that. That's quite good. Listening is pretty much the same. I can understand TV, I can understand the news, I can understand music, I can understand YouTube, natural conversation, pretty much anything. And there's, again, very few words that will catch me out. For the most part, I'd say 95%, if not more. It is quite hard to judge, and I haven't done the maths or anything, but I would definitely say my listening is at a fluent listening level. I would say I can understand natural, fluent, adult Japanese with no issues. So yeah, that's what my listening is at. So, when it comes to speaking, now this is where it gets a little bit different. My speaking, I would say, is probably a native, not a native level, it's probably a fluent level, but not a native fluent level. And what I mean by that is, I can speak to the level of probably a child, maybe. It's really hard to tell, because I don't speak enough to be able to give a proper opinion of my own speaking. I'm not in the country at the moment. I'm in the UK. I don't know many Japanese people. There aren't many Japanese people that live in the area that I live in, so I haven't gone into contact with many people. And as a consequence, I don't know how well I speak from their opinions. But from the few people that I do speak to, they do seem my speaking is very good. Personally, I'd say it's not a native level speaker fluent, but it is definitely, I can definitely get across what I want to say. I can have a conversation, I can speak easily without having to translate, and like a fluent pace. Like, you know, there's no stopping and starting. I'm not sitting there thinking about what I want to say for like 2 minutes and then say it. I'm not sitting there thinking about what I want to say in English and then translating it and then saying it. It all just comes out. So that's good. I can tell jokes, I can have arguments, you know, I can do anything I can in English pretty much. Like, that's still getting there. I'm still at the point of like where the output is starting to come out, and I don't think my speaking will be completely perfected until I'm actually in the country and I'm speaking all day, every day to native speakers, like constantly. I don't think my speaking will get to that level until I'm actually in that situation. Obviously, I can force that situation on myself. I can have Skype conversations with people all day, every day if I wanted to, and that is something I can do. But I have got other stuff in the day. You know, I've got university, I've got work to do. You know, so I don't have time for that yet. But after I finish university, I'm definitely going to try and go work there, and hopefully, I'll get a job and be able to spend all day, every day, improving my speaking and getting really good with that. When it comes to speaking, I do make occasional errors. Now, when this happens, I usually pick up on it myself first, and I usually feel kind of like that doesn't sound right. You know, I suppose it happens in native language as well. When you say something like you know it's wrong, you sort of get this weird feeling that that's definitely wrong. I shouldn't have said it like that. How this would be the best way to say it. And you sort of, it's the same thing pretty much. It's not very often that I'll say something wrong and I don't realise that I said it wrong. So I can only assume that's a good thing. But yeah. So hopefully that'll get fixed, as I say, with more input, with more practice speaking to other people. I think at the level I am now, and the people that I do speak to, I speak to this girl pretty much every day. She does correct me when we speak, like we're very close. So she will correct me and say, "Wait, that's wrong." Or, you know, or what do you mean? Like, okay. So when it comes to my vocab level, I'd say my vocab is a very high level. The vocabulary that I recognise is incredibly high, but the vocab that comes out of my mouth and it comes out of my writing when I write is a lot less. Now this is to be expected, really. Katz talks about this on his website. It's the more input you get, the more you understand. And when it comes to output, you only have like a certain bubble of words that you're ever going to use, and anything outside of that is going to be just extra stuff that you'll be able to recognise, but you won't necessarily need, or that you won't need to say yourself. So, and I totally agree with that. That when it comes to vocab, I only say a certain amount of vocab, and it's quite a small amount, and I do want to increase it, but that will just come with more time. More input means more vocab getting into your active vocab that you can say and speak. So, you know, more input, more I can say. Yeah, within the next 2 years, I expect I'll probably be at that level where I'll have a native level of vocabulary that I can output. So yeah, that's where my vocabulary is. As I was saying earlier, fluent but not quite native fluent. And what I mean by that is I can have a conversation, I can read, I can listen, I can write. But I would not compare myself to a native speaker, because, I mean, someone who's, well, it depends what you call a native speaker, because if you compare myself with a child that had the same amount of listening hours as me, then I'd say I'm, you know, a lot more fluent than they are. So, say a 1.5-year-old child, obviously I'm a lot more native than they are at this current stage in time, but compare myself to a 10-year-old child, they'll be more native than me. Compare myself to a 20-year-old adult, they'll be more native than me. Compare myself to a 40-year-old adult, then they're just, that's insane, you know. There's no way I'd probably ever get to that level unless I spent 40 years in language. Now, of course, I say that, but Anki and the methods that I use do speed up the process. My reading and the words that I know are beyond a child's knowledge in some cases, and in some cases there are words that I probably still don't know that a child probably does. It's very confusing and it's very hard to judge yourself in this. Well, when it comes to Anki stats, I've reached 10,000 sentences. I reached that a few months ago. I currently have 10,700, I think, ish. So look, I'll show you the stats on screen now, actually. So I've got 9,800 ish mature sentence cards, which means they're memorized, and 1,000 ish cards that I'm currently learning. So yeah, it's just over. That's 10,800 cards. I'm trying to get more. I want to get up to a lot more cards. I'd love to get to like 15,000 or even 20,000, but at this current stage in time, I'm not finding enough words to add to this deck. I'm finding like 10 words a day, maybe, if that. And the words I'm deleting are a lot more than the words I'm adding, so gradually it's getting less and less and less. But I just need to read in different topics, and then I can have more vocabulary. So I downloaded a science book the other day. I can't remember what it was about. Physics and stuff, so I'm going to hopefully get a lot of vocab from that. Obviously it's vocab for computing, which I'm always adding because this is part of my revision. So yeah, I'd love to try and get more sentences, but at the moment it's going through a bit of a cycle where it's staying the same. but yeah, 10,000 sentences, I've accomplished that task. When it comes to kanji, obviously I'm still doing RTK. By still doing, I mean I'm still reviewing the cards, but I don't really need to review them, but I still do it anyway. It only takes like a minute or two a day. Writing, this is how I practice writing. What I do is I get I've made a separate deck for that, and as you can see from the stats here, I've got 3,841 memorized, 677 learning, and 810 left, and I'm still adding stuff to this deck. But essentially what I'm doing is I'm getting the hiragana on one side and then the kanji on the back, and from the hiragana and possibly a picture, because a lot of words are the same, I'll have to write down the correct kanji. That's how I'm trying to improve my writing still, because my writing by hand is not very good, because I just can't remember how to write kanji. If I write on a computer, I can write perfectly fine. There's no issue with that, because the software that you use when you write, it comes up with kanji in a little what do you call it? In like a little box, like I guess it guesses what you want to write, and it'll come up, and I can just choose which one, and I can read it, so I can choose which one which is correct, and then just carry on typing. So writing on a computer is perfectly fine, but writing by hand is quite an issue, which I'm still trying to fix. It's got a lot better than it was, I have to say. I can write a lot more, but that's something I'm still trying to fix. Listening stats as well. So listening stats is also something I want to talk about. Basically, if you're listening, I just kept my headphones in for the past 18 months. That's all I did. Pretty much 24 hours a day, some days, and sometimes 22 hours, sometimes 21 hours, 23, 22. It's always 20 and above. There wasn't any day really that had headphones out for more than an hour. The only times I do have them out is when I'm in the shower, and even then I've got a speaker going with like the news or music or something. So even when I'm talking to people, I usually just have one out like this, or whenever I'm in a lesson, I'll have one out, or even a lecture, I'll have one out and one in. So the listening is something that has been pretty much 24/7. Reading, it's been about an hour a day. I've actually sat down reading a book. Although recently it's been a bit less because I've got busy with university. But when it comes to revising for university, reading material and stuff, I usually put all in Japanese. Or I usually go and search for the topic in Japanese instead of in English. When it comes to actual reading level per day, I'd say maybe 2-3 hours though, because I do watch a lot of TV, and I will only tend to use websites and shows that have subtitle files, because I want to be able to read and watch. I want to increase my reading and increase my knowledge, increase my vocabulary and increase my listening at the same time. So I always watch TV whilst having subtitles. It's just something that I do now. It's sort of turned into habit. If I can't find a show with subtitles, then I won't watch it. And the same with music videos on YouTube. I've got subtitle files. It's not subtitle files. I've got subtitles on my music videos. So I'm listening to a song right now, and as you can see, there are subtitles underneath, which is great. One thing I will quickly mention is because I'm a student, I've had a lot of free time, and I've had a lot of time to put in on flashcards and on reading. So that's why I've been able to get quite far quite quickly, I think. I have had at least 2 summer holidays in the past 18 months, both summer holidays of which have been 3 months each, and both of which I spent pretty much all my time at home, sitting on my computer, either doing flashcards or sat on my bed reading. And that's pretty much all I did for those 6 months. So that is one of the main reasons I think why I've got to quite a high level. It's purely because I've had a lot of time to have active, I guess active. I mean, it's input, so it's not really that active, but I've had time to study, essentially is what I'm saying here. I've had a lot of time to do physical active study, and active study is obviously more efficient than passive, passive listening by itself. But anything helps as long as you got contact with the language and you stick with the language and you keep going. Eventually, you will get to a high level. One thing I will say is, if you guys want to work out how quickly you will get fluent and how long it will take you, then always do the maths. Some of the statistics that Katz gives on his website, the 10,000 hours, use the 10,000 hours as a basis to get to and work out how many hours a day you need to spend to get to those 10,000 hours in a decent amount of time. That's what I did, and I was like, right, if I do 10,000 sentences, if I do a certain amount of sentences a day, then I can reach 10,000 sentences in this amount of months, for example. And I did the maths, and I reassured myself that, okay, as long as I do this many a day, I will reach this target within a certain amount of time. And that's really, really been very helpful for reaching goals and getting to quite a high level. So that's a big tip that I want you guys to hopefully realize. If you guys would like to know more information, then there's information in the description below. There's links for AJATT and some other websites that are very useful. And there's also a link to my website and my blog, which you guys might find useful if you want to give that a read as well. So yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I should probably post another one in the next 6 months, but I'm not sure what's going to happen from now on because I'm getting very busy. Next year I might end up in Germany, so I have sort of started learning German slightly, but only like an hour a day. It's not, I'm not putting too much time into it at the moment. But once I get the confirmation that I'm going, then I'm going to put some more time into that. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, so for the most part, if you're interested, then yeah, go check the description and get some more information. If you want to ask me any questions, then feel free to comment down below, and I'll feel free, I'll answer them. And yeah, okay, I'll see you guys in the next one. See you later.